Slideshow. All right, I'm just gonna have to do it from this. That's big enough, right? All right, cool. All right, so eating disorders. This is how your book defines it. They are disturbances in eating habits or behaviors that stem from an intense fear of being fat and a preoccupation with the perception of one's own weight and shape. How prevalent do you guys think eating disorders are? We've talked a lot about these different disorders and how they can be overdiagnosed, underdiagnosed. What do you guys think? Is this one overdiagnosed or underdiagnosed? If it's probably under, right? Just think about people that are going through things like that now. Oh, that's normal behavior. There's some like excessive exercise. People don't even think about that as being a sign of an eating disorder. So, oh, she just really likes to run. Maybe not. Maybe there's something there, or not. It could be. They're also associated with significant physical, psychological, and social impairments. The first one I want to talk about is anorexia nervosa. This is the intense fear of being fat, a body disturbance image, and an obsession with food and thinness. This is associated with the refusal to maintain a normal weight for one's age and height. That's definition pretty much straight out of the book. This obsession turns into a very severe food restriction and extreme weight control behaviors, which leads to this extreme weight loss. These individuals are often very, very thin, to the point of being like emaciated, but they don't actually see themselves that way. That's what makes it a disorder. We can see it, but they don't feel like they are that skinny. In order to get the diagnosis, the individual has to be significantly underweight for their age and height. And there's two different types. There's the restricting type, which means just restricting food, and then there's the binge eating and purging type as well. But both have a decrease in calorie intake and result in like a lot of weight loss. Some of the psychological factors are depression, anxiety, OCD-like behaviors. They're often comorbid with personality disorders and mood disorders. Some physical problems besides the extreme weight loss is like hypothermia, bradycardia, which is a slow heart rate, amenorrhea, which is no menstrual cycle, edema, loss of muscle tone. Big one is osteoporosis, just the fragile bones. And that one is actually irreversible. The other physical issues are normally reversible with going back to a normal weight and a healthy diet, lifestyle. But osteoporosis is irreversible. Once it's gone, it's gone. The most common cause of death, what do you think it is? It is. Yeah, very good. It's cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is the number one cause of death with people with anorexia. Let's watch this video here. I think it's kind of an eye-opening video to see kind of like what they are feeling or what they're seeing through their eyes. You know, that 180 calories or something that she had on the table, and that was too much. She pushed it away and then goes back and starts exercising. I think it's kind of crazy to think about behaviors like that. Any questions on anorexia? Okay, now we're going to go to bulimia nervosa. These people actually have a normal weight, but they have the fear of becoming fat. They attempt to rid the body of food through induced vomiting, laxatives, diuretics, extreme exercise, or extreme fasting. They will have the binge eating activity, but then they're going to try to purge it back out. They eat very, very quickly. They're often are going to do these kind of things in secrecy. They're not going to want to go eat out with people. They're probably going to go, get a lot of food at one place, take it home, and eat it where no one can see them. Often this results in either extreme weight loss or extreme weight gain, depending on how your body reacts with the purging behaviors. It's more prevalent in females. And the peak onset age, what do you think that is? What do you think the peak age is? It's more common in females. What do you think that age is? Right. So roughly, your book talks about 16 to 18 years old, so the high school years. Why do you think it is so prevalent in those years? Huh? Sports. Okay, that's a big one. Right. And then you're kind of in that area of trying to figure out who you are and all that stuff at the same time. And then, it can lead to more of these binging and purging behaviors. This is another one that's often comorbid with mood disorders. Self-harm is big with bulimia. A lot of impulsive actions. Impulse is what you want to think of with bulimia. Some of the psychological factors here are the self-harm. They're much more common to use drugs and alcohol. Impulsive sexual actions. They even have a high rate of shoplifting. Some other comorbid things are anxiety and personality disorders. Some of the health problems here are headaches, dizziness, GI issues, loss of balance, low potassium, loss of teeth enamel. That's another big one with bulimia, is actually losing the enamel in your teeth. Can you think of why? Right, from the acid from your stomach. But the purging behaviors, that acid sitting on their teeth is really, really bad. A chronic sore throat for the same reason. And then a big imbalance just in your whole system because of the chronic use of laxatives. Any questions on bulimia? I have a video in a second, but it's not one of those. Good? Cool. All right, now we're going to talk about binge eating. Binge eating disorder. This is the same behaviors as bulimia, but they don't purge. They don't have that purging activity afterwards. This takes place in a very discrete period of time. They're going to do this in secrecy. It's very similar to bulimia, but it's not. They don't purge. They're going to eat a larger amount of food than someone would eat during the same period of time. It's a very abnormally large amount of food. And then afterwards, they're going to have a feeling of lack of control, being uncomfortably full, eating alone, and then being disgusted in themselves afterwards for the behavior. So, etiology. What's the cause? Like most that we have talked about, there is no one cause. There's a lot of different factors. Again, it affects more men than women, but it's considered a younger person's disorder too. Most of the people diagnosed are younger men and women. Men, I think, is about 10%. Makes it like of all people that are diagnosed with anorexia, it's 10%, I think, male and 90% female. Some of the factors that can lead to it, though, is a genetic predisposition. They say if a family member has been diagnosed with an eating disorder, you're at a much higher risk of being diagnosed with one. Low self-esteem, high anxiety, stressful situations, and then social and cultural pressures also to be thin, which is what I was kind of getting at a second ago with the high school. You're in that realm of, wanting to look a certain way and got to look this way and stuff like that. Some of those predisposing factors, if you go to page 157 in your book, there's a table there that actually 3 of your questions from the pop quiz came from, that talks about common personality traits that makes people at higher risk, or common for having these disorders. They also have these personality traits. Like for the excessive self-control, that's anorexia nervosa. Bulimia, that one's the impulsivity, and then binge eating is the harm avoidance. But it's a good table to remember for both, in practice and your exam, to go through. Make sure you highlight that chapter. There's several questions from it. Okay. Some biological factors are the serotonin levels in their brain, or the happy chemical. It plays a huge role, but that research is ongoing. They're still looking at that. Again, if a sibling or a parent has been diagnosed, you're at a much higher risk of also being diagnosed or developing an eating disorder. Family functioning factors. In one major study, they found that alcohol and drug abuse within the family made people at higher risk. Violence in the family, sexual abuse. If the family overvalues thinness and health, overall, like that's what they're about, that puts someone at higher risk. Or the opposite side of that, not valuing health at all, also puts you at higher risk. Social and cultural influences, again, that social pressure to be thin. Mass media really plays a big part in these. I'd like to know, and maybe somebody could find and tell me, like, the spike of people that were diagnosed with this eating disorders before, like, TV and things became a real big thing, compared to now, how much of a spike that would be. I think it would be pretty crazy numbers. I'm going to go back to that slide in just a second. This is just a little blurb of, all I want is to go through life not worrying constantly about my weight. All I want is a normal relationship with food. I want peace with myself, my body, my mind. I want to focus my attention on other, more important things in my life, and I want to move on. These are quotes. I thought I had it on there. These are quotes from somebody that has an eating disorder. Let's go back to this occupational participation one, okay? For the rest of class, and Beckley, I'll have Professor Masilli kind of do it with you guys. These are different areas of occupation that are going to be affected by an eating disorder, okay? I'm gonna break you guys up into groups and give you the 3 issues or 2 issues each. I want you guys to come up with interventions. And you guys, I'll let you decide which eating disorder you want to go with. Okay, well, we'll do 3 groups with you guys. Everybody do one different, so it makes it a little bit better. Okay. But actually, that's it for the lecture portion of this. It's pretty quick. It's a straightforward kind of chapter. Beckley, do you guys have any questions?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so if you have that PowerPoint slide, or I'll bring it back up for you guys, just assign them into groups and give them a few of those issues to go through and give them a diagnosis to work with, okay? And then they're going to come up with interventions that are related to that area of occupation.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.